Welcome to the Payback Team Training. And today what we're going to go over is how to track your business. How do you track your close ratio? How do you track your appointment set? How do you, what do you do with all of your clients? How do you track your goals if you want to get to Hall of Fame? If you don't track your business, if you don't track your close ratios, you're kind of just shooting in the wind. And so I've developed a spreadsheet here that I personally use in my business that kind of helps me stay on track, helps me know where I'm at. And here's the best part of it. It saves me about $400 a month, because as I track my business, as your business gets older or grows and grows and grows, you're going to have more expenses. You're going to have more income coming in. Obviously, we want more income coming in. And so instead of hiring a bookkeeper that's going to cost $400 a month, all you have to do is take 10-15 minutes to fill out this spreadsheet, and you can use this as your bookkeeper when you go to an accountant to do all of your taxes. And really all you have to do is share this spreadsheet with them, and then they have access to it anytime they need to, and all you're going to do is just keep updating it. So I'm going to just share my screen with you here, and we'll kind of get rolling on this. All right, can you guys all see my screen? Yeah? Okay, perfect. All right, so let me put this up here. Okay, so right down here, there's a couple of different tabs. First of all, when you click on that link, you're not going to be able to edit it until you make a copy of it. So the first thing you want to do is go to File right here, make a copy, and then now it's yours. Okay, now these have formulas in here. So if you want to change it, obviously it's going to be your spreadsheet. You can change it anytime you want to, but just make sure that you know what you're doing if you do change it, because it does track these goals right here. Now, this right here is set to 11/30/2024 to hit Hall of Fame. In order to hit Hall of Fame, you got to hit 400,000 in annual premium per calendar year. So by the end of December 31st. Right? But notice I have mine set at 11/30, so the end of November, right? It gives me that extra month just in case, right? But it breaks it down per week, what you need. You have 26 weeks left. You need $4,629 per week. You have 395,000 to hit Hall of Fame, based off of the numbers that are in here, and I just have two examples in here. And then per week, my apologies here. Let me click on Do Not Disturb real quick. Okay, so right here per week, you need 15,207 to hit Hall of Fame, and then per day, you need to sell $3,041 worth of premium in order to hit Hall of Fame. Okay. Now this is where I keep all of my client list right here. And the reason why is because obviously, you know, we have tons of carriers, and it just keeps everything a little bit more organized. It's super easy to share with my admin. Whenever you guys get ready to hire an admin, all you have to do is share this with her or him, and they can see all of this. Okay, but this is where your clients go, right? You put your first name, last name, put the insured person, because that may be somebody different than the person that actually is buying the policy, than the owner of the policy. Put the date of birth, address, city, state, zip, their cell phone. If they have another phone, maybe a home phone, you could put that right there. The email. And then right here, this is the relationship to the beneficiary. Okay. And then right here, this is the carrier name, the policy number, the date submitted, the date issued, and then the draft date may be a different date than what you actually filled out the application on. And so that is important information, because if they call back and they want to know what the draft date is, you can just tell them, here's the face value, the type of policy that it is. And then right here, you just plug in your monthly premium. And then this is going to calculate your yearly premium. Okay. And then right here, I always color coded or had my admin color code it red if they cancel. And then I have these check marks. Okay. This right here will let me know if the policy is issued, and you're going to have to go back there and find out. And the way you do that is you just go back into the portal and find out if it issued. If they paid their first payment, that means you're going to get paid. Then you put a check mark there. And then what I have my admin do is I verify that FFL has this policy on their books, right? Because I want to get credit for it, so it goes towards my bonusing, right? And sometimes nobody's perfect. Sometimes it gets missed, right? So you can check that in the back office of the gateway in the IP reports, okay? Then if they cancel, you're just going to put a check mark right here, okay? Any notes that you want to put in here, usually what I do is I'll put a note in here, like she was immediately approved and the policy is going to be sent via regular mail, right? That way, if I go to call back again and they're like, where's my policy? Well, you wanted it sent to you via regular mail rather than, have it emailed to you. So that's kind of what I put in there. If I talk to her again, what I'll do is I'll say, you know what? I'll put in the date and put in maybe 5/29/24. Client wants to upgrade to 250K for policy. That way I know that she wanted to upgrade to more coverage, right? So that's kind of how I use this section, or this tab right here. This is my client list. And then if I need to add some rows, I'll just go down here and click on insert rows. Okay. And then right down here, once the month is done, I just start here, and then I'll delete these rows that I'm not going to use anymore, right? Just delete. Okay. Now, that's kind of it for this tab right here. Now, this tab right here is your carriers tab. This tab is very important to track all of your writing numbers. Okay. So here's your agent ID, which is your writing number, and you'll put them all right here according to the carrier. You put your username, password. If they need a PIN, you'll put a PIN right here. Here's the help number if you need to call the carrier. It's all right here. Okay, if you need to press an option or something like that, you can just put that right here. And then here's the access to the site. And then if you need any other stuff like Aetna, sometimes they don't do it so much anymore, but they were doing telephone interviews, and they would call the client and say, hey, you need to do a telephone interview. And they couldn't get a hold of the client. So what we would do is we'd call the client and let them know, hey, you need to call into Aetna to do a telephone interview. And so we give them this number right here to call in. Okay. Any important emails right here that we need to use to upload. Maybe they don't have an your E&O insurance. So, you would send it into new business processing, or maybe they need, a copy of their driver's license, and you'll send it into new business processing, right? So that's simple as that. That's how you use this tab. It's just basically a way to share information and have the information accessible, because all of these writing numbers are going to be different, and you're definitely not going to be able to remember them unless you have a really good photographic memory. I sure don't. Hopefully you do, but I don't. Okay, so this one is your appointment tracker. So this one will be able to tell you your close ratios. Okay. Now, I used to do in-home, and then I also did telesales at the same time. I used to do mainly in-home. So if you're doing in-homes, you're going to want to plug it in right here. If you're doing telesales, you're going to want to plug it in right here. Then it's going to spit out some ratios, and it's going to spit out some telesale ratios right here. And I'm going to kind of go over all of that in detail right here. So let's say that at the end of the day, Okay, we're just going to plug in a date here. We'll just say it's 5/30/24, and you ran 10 appointments. Okay, and they're going to be all telesale appointments. Okay, so you can see it over here. There's 10 left. So you have to make these numbers right here equal 10 because this has to disappear. So on that day, you had maybe, I don't know, let's say you had 6 of them that no-showed. You had 3 of them that you presented. Doesn't mean you closed them, but you presented. Okay. And you have 4 left. Maybe one of them rescheduled, and you closed 3 of those policies. Okay. Okay, so we got how many appointments? 10. Got to make it add up here. So we got 3 of those. There we go. So now, right here, you have telesale ratios. This is your phone appointments that you made compared to how many no-shows you had. So out of how many appointments you made, how many no-shows did you have? You had 3 of them no-show. Okay. And then right here, out of how many appointments you presented, you went through all the way to the close, you gave them the price, and they said no. Okay. These are how many appointments you presented, but you didn't close. And then right here, these are how many appointments you made, but you didn't close. And then right here, this is how many you closed. You closed 100% of the appointments that you presented, right? Because if you don't present anything, you can't close anything, right? So it's only based, this one is only based off of how many you presented. Okay, so out of this 30%, you closed 100% of them. Does that make sense? Nod your heads? Yeah, cool. So right here, this is kind of some notes here that I put in here just to kind of help you guys understand how to use this, right? So appointments made to no show. That's this one right here. You need to get better at setting appointments. The lower the no-show rate, the better, right? So we want to make this number go down. So if you're looking at this every day and this number's slightly going down, it may start off and go up and down and up and down and up and down. But if it's eventually going down over time, that's a good thing. We want to make sure we want to get as many the lowest amount of no-shows as possible. Obviously, you're not going to be perfect. You may have perfect days to where most people, sometimes everybody shows up. Sometimes, you have a day that nobody shows up, right? But if you're having a lot of no-shows, then the key here is getting better at setting appointments. Okay. The next one is the appointments presented to the no-show ratio, right over here. Right here, sorry. Right here, if your number is low, we want to make it get higher, right? We want to get more appointments to present to. And so you need to get better. If that is, if it's a low number, you need to get better at presenting, including building the value, price conditioning, and closing. Okay. The higher the percentage, the better. Okay. So this is what you need to work on if this number is not, if this number is low. Okay. Appointments made to close. Right here, this one. More appointments, the higher chance to close. Focus on setting higher quality appointments and nailing them down at the end of the call. The higher percentage, the better. Okay. And what do I mean by nailing down? That would be like the 2 phrases that I like to use at the very end. Please make sure to have a pen and paper handy because I'm going to go over some important information that you're definitely going to want to write down. And then do me a favor. I may be running about 15 to 30 minutes late, so please give me about a 15 to 30 minute window. If I may be running a tad bit late, but if I do get done a little bit early, I'll call you a tad bit early. Is that okay? Yes. Those two statements right there will help nail down appointments and raise your appointment show up ratio. Okay. Right here, this is your present to close. This is the most important one right here. Okay. If you're closing out 100% out of all the appointments that you're presenting to, that means you have a high closing ratio. My close ratio is about 90%, okay, give or take on certain days, right? It doesn't matter how this number doesn't matter how many appointments you set. It does matter how many appointments you closed out of the appointments that you presented. Okay, so more presentations are better. So obviously you need more appointments to get more presentations, and focus on building the value of the policy, price conditioning and closing. The higher percentage, the better. So if your closing percentage is low, this is what you need to focus on. Okay. Expenses. This tab right here is going to track all of your expenses, tell you what you're profiting, tell you what your where you're at in your business, where you need to put more money, where you need to put less money. So the way this is set up is, here's a quick snapshot right here. Based off of these examples in here, you can see that you're profiting $6,367 right now. The total income coming in based off of all of these policies, okay? And then here's your expenses that you have going out, okay? And so what you do is all you're going to do, and this is the sheet right here that you would share with your accountant. All you do is you click on share, give him, put his email in there, and you're good to go. He can get in there and look at it anytime he wants to. And it's going to save you about $400 a month if you go ahead and do this. So what I do is I come in here and I do this probably once a week, sometimes twice a week, depending on how many expenses I have. All I'm doing is I'm going into my bank accounts, and that's the next tab that we're going to look at. I'm going into my bank accounts and I'm just literally plugging the numbers into here from the bank accounts and what they're for, right? So as an example, if I have an operating expense, I'm going to put in minus 3987 because it's a minus, right? It's an expense, so it's a minus. Over here, these are all pluses because this is income coming in. Okay. These are all expenses, so we're going to put minus 3987. And then I'm going to put to who that is to. Who did I pay? Right? And then for what? What's the purpose of it? E&O insurance. Okay. Right here, I bought a license for the state of Minnesota. Who did I pay? NIPR.com. If you have a tool like a CRM and it costs you $99, you put minus 99, LeadChamp Pro, CRM, right? If you have leads, this right here should be your biggest expense all the time, right? Until you grow bigger, you have a bigger team. But right now, this should be your biggest expense because based off of the appointment tracker, you should be able to figure out what are my appointments compared to my expenses. And then all you have to do is multiply that, right? Multiply. If you're making 10 grand off of $3,000 worth of leads, you can just, and you want to double that, spend 6 grand on leads, you make 20 grand, right? So that's kind of how that works. And then over here, it's going to calculate it all per month and then add it up totally at the end of the year. Okay, so you can see that your leads, you have $580 in month January. You have a total income of $5,597. You have an operating expense of $39.87, and then you've profited $63.67. Okay, so all of these. Okay, so where are we at here? I'm gonna check something out real quick here. Let me fix something real quick. Yeah, okay.
These numbers are backwards.
There we go. So this needs to minus X. Oh, I had it right the first time. I'll fix this a little bit later here. But this right here is going to show you your profit. I had a typo in here. I'll fix it a little bit later. And then you guys will have it. But it's going to add it all up per the end of the year. And then you're good to go. So this needs to be, here, I'll just do it right. X2 minus X12. Gotta be plus. There we go. There we go. There we go. Okay. I had to add in a few extra categories in here, and so it kind of threw it off. So my apologies. Okay, so down here, now I can't see the tabs. There we go. So over here, here's the allocation. So this is what I do. I read a book called Profit First, and I recommend you guys getting that. The link is right here. If you've never ran a business before, this is a really good book to read. You can listen to it on Audible, and it actually will it's not dry, it's pretty humorous as well. Mike McAllowitz is kind of funny as well. But it does talk about accounting, right? And so what we want to do is have profit in our business. And in order to have profit in our business, we can grow, we can expand, we can use that. We also want to pay taxes. We don't want to, at the end of the year, find out that we owe $50,000 of taxes and there's not enough money in there to pay the tax bill, right? Because we're all 1099 here. It's not like a normal job to where they take out the taxes right away. And then they take out more than what you did and they give you a refund at the end of the year. That's not the way this is, right? We're paying taxes quarterly if you have an LLC or a corporation, and we're paying taxes also at the end of the year. So this kind of helps you track everything. And so in this scenario, this is the way I do it. You guys don't have to do it this way. This is just the way that I do it that helps me keep everything tracked to where, because I'm not an accountant, I'm not a bookkeeper, I'm not financially, I don't know how to do all of the accounting. That's why I pay somebody to do the accounting. But this helps me track all of my expenses because I have different multiple accounts for this, right? Now, minimum, if you want to do this based off of Profit First, you need 3 business checking accounts and 3 business savings accounts, and then nickname them, right? So right here is how I have them nicknamed. Now, the way this is set up is all you have to do is plug the number in here. Oh, that's a big number. And it's going to change everything right away. Okay. And then all you have to do is you just take twice a month. So first off, let me back up here. You're going to have one checking account that's going to be a pass-through checking account. Okay. And that money gets deposited into that one pass-through account, which would be this one. You don't have a checkbook or anything attached to it. You're not going to spend any money out of that account. It's just a pass-through account. And what happens is all of your deposits get funneled into that one account. And then on the 10th and the 25th of the month, you're going to go to that one account that has all the deposits in it, and then spread it out to all of these different accounts. Now, first thing I do, this is my preference, you guys don't have to. I strongly believe in paying tithing, okay? So right off the top, 10% goes to church, charity, wherever you may want to do it. I believe that I'm where I'm at right now because I do pay tithing, but you don't have to. If you don't want to, you just change that to 0 and you're good to go, okay? So right off the top comes out tithing. Then all of these numbers are based off of what's left, okay? So right here, we want to make sure it equals 100%, okay? To start off, this is built for new people. These are the goal target percentages that we want to get to. Okay. So right off the bat, this is your profit and this is a savings account. You're not going to be pulling money out of here all the time, and you're going to start at 1%. And every quarter, there's 4 quarters in a year. Every quarter, you're going to raise this up by 1% only. That's it. And the rule is when you raise it, you can never go back. Okay. You want to eventually get to 15%. And the way we do that is in the backstory of it is when we have, when we're new, when we're starting a business, we're going to have a lot higher expenses than we are later on down the road because our expenses are going to lower, our profit is going to go up, right? Most businesses are in the red for a long time before they go into the black. And in fact, that's why we have Black Fridays, right? Because most businesses are in the red for the retail businesses are in the red for the majority of the year until Black Friday comes, okay? So you're going to start off at 1% and then raise this 1% every quarter, okay? This is a savings account. At the end of the quarter, what Mike Michalowicz recommends is that you take half of it, and you don't have to, but take half of it and celebrate, right? Because that's the reason why we're in business, is so that we can not only, pay for our expenses, pay for our living, cost of living, but also we use that to have fun and create entertainment. So use that to celebrate. Or you can use that to reinvest into your business, but you only take half of it at the end of the 3 months, okay? Now this one right here is a taxes account that you put away 30% right off the bat, okay? And you want to keep doing that until you get to the end of the year when you have to pay taxes. Then when Uncle Sam says, okay, you owe this amount of money, boom, you write a check, you're good to go. Whatever's left over, you can use that, put it in your profit account, or you can use that to, to expand your business for whatever you need to. Here, my largest expense is your leads account. Okay. It's your leads are your largest expense in this business because it's the gas for the car, right? This is a vehicle to get us from point A to point B. And in this case, point B is to leave a legacy for our family, to grow a business so that we don't ever have to work anymore, to grow passive income, right? Well, there's 4 ways that we know how to build this business: family, friends, knock doors, work social media, or you can buy leads from people that have already put up their hand and said, hey, I want some life insurance. And so right here, I choose to just buy leads. So this account right off the bat is going to be at 50%. Now, if you want to make it higher, since let's say, your operating expense may be a little bit lower, you may have just 1% going in there because the only thing you're really doing is buying licenses for other states, right? So maybe you want to raise this to 60% or 70% or 80% to start off, to fund it enough so that every time you get a policy, you get paid off of a policy or 2 or 3, you can have enough leads to reinvest into your business, right? Down here, this is also a savings account. Obviously, this is a checking account, right? And this one I have a debit card for because I'm buying leads, right? Taxes, this is a savings account because it's staying in there until I use it to go, pay for taxes. And then I'll just transfer that into a checking account, usually the operating expense account, okay? And then right here, This is a large expense account. We have convention, we have trainings yearly, right? We have multiple lock-ins throughout the year. We want to be able to get there. And if you don't have the money, that means that you haven't allocated the funds to the right place while you're making money in this business. And so that's what this account is for. It's a large expense account. And so right off the bat, you'll just put a little bit away. And if another lock-in pops up and you don't have all the money, guess what? If you have half the money, that's really going to help go towards the expense to get there. And so you can learn and reinvest more knowledge into your brain so that you can make more money, of course. But this is going to help subsidize that expense when it comes up. Okay. Now, every month, as this number goes down because you're getting better and becoming more consistent, maybe you put 2% here, or every quarter, not every month, sorry. Maybe you put 2% here, right? These are going to adjust, and this is the target that you want to kind of get to. Okay, and then now you have your operating expenses, right? This would be anything like your licenses, your E&O insurance, your AML, if you have to pay for that, any trainings, any CE trainings, any admin costs. Maybe you're paying an admin to help you. That would be an operating expense. Anything that's going to help you operate the business, this is the expense that you want to have, okay? This is the checking account that you want to have. And this is the main checking account that most of the expenses come out of, except for the leads account. So these are the two main accounts that you want to have a debit card for. And so the rest of them, you don't even need a debit card, okay? Now this one right here is a personal account. So after all is said and done, we have to pay for personal expenses, right? So we have to have something going into our personal account. We got to put food on the table for our family. We got to pay the utilities for our house. We got to do all of that kind of stuff, right? And so maybe right off the bat, you start at 13%. Maybe your personal expenses are higher, okay? You can change that. But right here, this is going to go into a personal account that, again, is a checking account, not a savings account, because a savings account only allows you, most banks only allow you to pull from that savings account like 6, maybe 8 times a quarter. Okay, so if you're going to pull from there more than that, you want a checking account. Now, again, this isn't a checking account that I'm going to have a debit card to, because this is just a pass-through account that I put all of the funding from my business into. And so just like the business has a pass-through account, the personal has a pass-through account. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to allocate funds to my personal. And this right here, I like to go on vacations every year. My wife is from Cancun. I try to go to Cancun every year so she can see her family. And so we put a little bit into that account every single month. Christmas and vacation, or Christmas and birthdays. This is the way I have it set it up. You guys don't have to, but Christmas and birthdays come up every single year, right? They're never going to go away. And so we put a little bit aside for Christmas and birthdays. Reoccurring expenses. This is an account that I really don't even have to touch. This is my mortgage. This is my utilities for the house, the electric, the gas. This is my my gas for my cars. This is my food. This is Netflix, cable, phone, cell phone. This is everything that's going to reoccur. So every time that I have this, every time I have get paid, a large portion of that goes into there, because that's my living expenses that I have, right? And so then they're all set up on automatic payment, and then they just come out every single month on certain days. I don't have them set up on the same day. I have them set up on like the 5th, the 10th, 15th, 20th, 25th. And then that way, if I'm short a little bit, I know that, okay, I got to put some money in there by the time the 20th comes, right? Because this is coming out. Okay. Needs and entertainment. This one is super simple. This is just your extra needs that you'll have or your entertainment, right? We like to go out. My son likes to go mountain biking. So that I would put, he's on a mountain biking team. So I would put, his tuition for that comes out of that account. If he needs clothes or we need clothes, we buy it out of that account. That's a need. Um, if we doctor bills, that's a need. They're not reoccurring, so that's a need. We would put it, spend it out of that account. If we go to the movies, that's entertainment. We spend it out of that account as well, right? And then we have large expenses that come up for our personal, right? Maybe I need to fix the house, maybe I need to fix the car, repair the car. And it's not much that goes in there because there's not a lot of repairs that come up, but maybe a large expense will come up at one point in time. And if there's not a lot of money in there, then it helps subsidize the main cost that comes up, right? And sometimes you just let it go, everything's going hunky-dory, and you don't have to worry about anything, everything's going great. And it just keeps building until that expense does come up. So that's kind of how I do my tracking of everything. You guys, again, you guys don't have to do it this way, but it helps me keep everything on track. Okay, helps me understand where I'm at in my business, and it helps me understand where I need to go, right? If my expenses are a little bit too high on the operating expenses and my leads are a little bit too low, I know, okay, if I want to make the money that I did last month, let's say last month I spent 5 grand on leads, and this month I'm only at 1,500, and it's halfway through the month. If I want to make what I made last month, I probably should invest more in leads, right? So it just gives me a ballpark of where I'm at all the time. You guys don't have to use this. You can if you want to. It's totally up to you guys, but it's free for you to use. I've already built it. There's no use reinventing the wheel. So yeah, that's it.
Question, Sean.
Sure. Go
Yes.
ahead, Kelly.
So I copied this and it went to my drive, my
Yeah,
cloud-based drive. So I just got to go in and open it up and rename things.
yeah, you can do that. You'll have to make a copy of it first. You
That's what I
just click
did.
on make a
It's
copy, and then you can go and edit it all you want to.
right because since I copied it, it shows copy of client list.
Yep, you can go and change the name.
Okay.
All you gotta do is click on that button right up at the top there. Let me share my screen again. I'll show you. So like right here, click on file, make
Mhm.
copy.
Mhm.
And then once it's yours, you just click on this and put in what I do on mine. I have my business name, Payback,
Okay. So I can
right?
put in like Blanca Peak. Okay.
Yeah. But mainly this is for your uh client list, right? And
Mhm.
then all of it is, so that's what I have it named for whoever I share it for. Because the bottom line down here is we want to track our clients. That's the most important. And then track our expenses. That's the most important as well. Okay.
Got it.
The other thing that makes life easier is tracking the carriers. Okay. And then by tracking the appointments that you set, you're going to know how to get better. Because if you don't know where you're at, you don't know what your close ratio is, you don't know what your appointment presentation ratio is, you're not going to get better. And a lot of times, if you guys fill this out, you can share it with me, and then I can tell you, okay, well, your close ratio is a little bit lower, and you can come to me and say, hey, my close ratio is low. How do we grow it? What am I doing? Let's do some role play or something like that,
Mhm.
right?
Right.
Um,
It and I know where one of my weaknesses is I have not been tracking appointments. I've just been going for the one call closed. If they don't have time, then we set an appointment. But with the no shows, but I've been tracking my sits,
uh-huh.
conversations. And so, for example, out of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, out of the last 7 sits, which haven't been that frequent, I've had 5 closes. And for me,
Okay.
it's just more activity, period. More leads, more dials, period.
Yeah, so out of every sit, a sit would be the same thing as a presentation.
Correct.
So yeah, you can track it however you want to. This is just a tool, uh, for people who want to use it.
Okay.
So,
No, makes sense.
all right,
Got it.
but that's it for today, guys.